connections for life. I'm Ted Pete.
Chad Kuba, I lost it though.
You certainly have
I'm
lost.
fighting it for 40 minutes, man.
You
I'm
certainly
fighting for
lost
40
it.
minutes, guys.
On that,
It's
on
stuck
that.
in my backpack.
Oh, that's great.
There's so many things wrong with you.
Thank you.
Are you gonna
Like,
change?
like that I'm getting fined for fishing too?
Since
What lake are you
2000
on, buddy?
7 years ago, we had a fishing license, folks. 7 years.
It's not Ohio. There isn't any mountains this big in Ohio.
It looks like upstate New York.
It does.
It does.
It's probably like Colorado or something.
Hang on.
Joe
You gonna wear
Strat,
that?
how are you?
Oh, Trenton. Good, buddy. How are you?
Good. So Chad, you're taking the day off, hitting the lake.
I'm out of breath from that. I should really start working out. Like,
Maybe you should jog home from the lake.
Hey, I missed. I didn't work out this morning. That makes
I
10
go for a
years in a row.
swim.
That makes 10 years in a row. At least you're consistent.
God, that's what I'm saying. That's the key. They told me, be consistent.
You should eat more hot dogs.
Yes. Speaking of that, that's a great segue in. Saw a study today that said I am now negative 144 years old. I live 36
You've
years.
outlived your lifespan, Ted.
Yes,
You've
I have.
basically outlived you. You've outkicked the coverage on life.
Come on, say the fact. Get to the fact.
So the fact is that a study out of the University of Michigan said that if you eat one hot dog, you're taking up to 36 minutes off your life. So we determined pre-show that between us, all of us are like negative years old. So,
But wait a minute. let's analyze this for a second quickly. They used to say that if you smoke a cigarette, you take 5 minutes off your life. Wasn't
5
that
minutes
what it
off
was?
your life.
So a hot dog
36?
is 7 times worse than a cigarette?
That's crazy.
I don't know if that's true.
It's a great comparative thought.
I wonder if like the ones with the cheese in them are more or less.
That's
I get a lot
41.
of those.
That's 41 minutes.
Those are-
Or
Like the
the
jalapeno-
jalapeno speeds,
jalapeno cheddar
up,
ones,
speeds
man.
up the digestion.
Oh, that's actually less, 32. I was part of the study. What's a sausage? 15
It's a
15
good
hours?
poll. Hey, that's a good poll, Joe.
Yeah.
What?
How many minutes does it take off if you eat a hot dog?
I don't know about that, man.
I would be intrigued. I bet you we get a lot of responses if you
You want me to post it? I will.
Yeah.
I do actually.
All right.
Yeah.
So with Chad's fishing escapades, we have to get a story out of Joe here. So I made a reference. Chad goes, it's hooked to my bag. And I said, well, Chad will never be able to fly again.
Oh, I know Joe's story. I think.
Okay.
All right.
So last week, I flew from Rochester, New York to Detroit to Lexington, and then Lexington to Philadelphia, and Philadelphia back to Rochester. So on my flight I got to Lexington. We were at KGA for the week. I flew from Lexington to Philadelphia. I get to Philadelphia and I buy a bottle of water. And I'm like, man, I gotta put it in my bag. My bag was full, but on our bags, as you know, there's side pouches. So there's a big side pouch where you can put a bottle of water in.
I'd show you mine, but it's stuck to my fishing rod.
I reach in there to stick, I open it up to stick the water inside, and my water bottle won't fit. And I'm like, what is in here? My taser was in my bag. Fully charged, flew 4 separate flights, 2 TSAs, no one caught it.
That's amazing.
It blew me away.
I have been stopped.
On the other hand, I had to give up my bottle of water when I went through security because that was enough.
Do you remember the present you bought me years ago, Joe? The bullet.
Oh,
pen?
the bullet, yeah.
He bought me.
That still makes me
bullet,
mad.
like a.
Yeah.
I forget what size car. It was a longer.
50
bullet, but
cal.
it had a pen in it, and
50
it was a
cal.
50 cal, and it had a pen in it. And I took it through Syracuse on the way back from Upsco one time, and they took it from me.
So I have been almost strip searched for this.
Gross.
So this is.
Oh, that's your sniper round.
There is a hole in it, in the round. There's a hole. And
Like
I
it's
go
gonna
through
magically
the
fly
magic
off your
wand
wrist.
thing. I go through the magic wand thing. They're like, you can't fly with that. I'm like, I've flown 40,000 miles through the air with this right here. And he was like, well, we're gonna have to take it. And I was like, good luck. Good luck,
You
buddy.
almost said a naughty word.
Good luck. So they're like, well, we have to x-ray it. So they put it through the machine and then they give it back to me. And I'm like, okay.
Dude, I'm just bugging out that like I could have probably gotten in trouble for that.
Yeah. Try to take
which is
over.
amazing. Like that you could get in trouble for it, and they didn't even.
But you would have had to prove that it was there for all 4 flights, and you didn't buy it like in between.
But you probably almost got arrested for not wearing a mask while you were eating.
The best part about all that is they're not even legal in New York. So I don't know. I dodged a major bullet there.
Auburn State PD. You heard that his
TSA.
address he lives on.
TSA, well done.
Well done.
Well done. boys.
Awesome. All right. Well, so how was your weekend, Chad? What do you got going on, man?
Oh, so the weekend was good. Lindsay and Logan left Sunday for Canada. Canada for Oshawa. Logan finally gets to try out for the OHL team he was drafted for, the Generals, and
The only American.
Yeah, he's the only American there trying out for the team. Out of probably about 60 players, 54 skaters, I'd say 6 goalies. He's the only American. So
you know what I think is really cool as well is that Joe knew that. That's how I want everybody to recognize that for a second. Like, that's really true. Like, we're not just colleagues. Like, Joe and Chad are genuinely best friends. They say it, but it's like he can answer that kind of stuff. That was really cool.
Oh my God. Like, I'm as interested in how Logan does as as Chad is. I hope he's up there, Logan. I know you probably will never watch this. Maybe when
I'll make him watch it. I'll send him just a clip.
I hope you do well, buddy. You've earned it, man. You worked your butt off, and good job.
Gotta keep going.
All right. So they're up there doing that.
Yeah, I didn't. Yesterday was probably the most unproductive day while they were driving there that I've had in potentially 5 to 10 years.
Those are allowed every now and then.
Oh, they drive me crazy when I do that.
Okay. What about you, Joe?
I didn't do anything. Like,
you went out, right? You did something. You went places.
Oh, I went to Applebee's
by yourself.
By myself. Well, when you're by yourself, you're by yourself. What are you gonna do?
Sizzler. Stop it. Sizzler too.
No. Sirloin. Parmesan. I was just, This episode's clearly sponsored by Applebee's. Last week was Natty Ice and
your neighborhood restaurant.
Yes. Yeah. The family neighborhood grill.
There you go. There you go.
Okay.
There's your slogan. You flash that up on the screen.
Yeah, Chad, where's your background? You didn't have that queued up?
Sorry, not fast enough. My background's folding too, right there.
What
about you, Teddy?
I had a cool one this weekend. So we had on Saturday, we had our inaugural season of the basketball hoop group, the City Light Hoop Group. We had our inaugural end of the year like picnic / awards banquet where we handed out, individual awards to the MVP of every team, the most improved player, cool. Defensive player, coaches award. And we had this huge picnic, 100-something people up at Harris Hill, this local, park up here. It was great, grilling, food. I lost about 7 hours of my life with them on
hot dogs.
Yeah. And then
did you read the study after the hot dogs?
After I was like petrified.
It came out mid-party. Did you have a tournament this weekend, outdoor one too?
No, that is
what was the clip? Was that Nick on that clip you posted on Facebook asking if everybody thought it was a penalty?
That was a Gus Macker. That was at Gus Macker last weekend.
I thought it was him.
It was him. That was him who set the screen.
Did you say a penalty?
He got a technical foul.
That's a clean check in hockey.
You're not a hockey. I mean, you're not a hockey parent or anything.
It's a clean check.
Just playing basketball, got that penalty. Had to sit in the box for 2 minutes.
Well, that was another one because that was the game to determine who went to the championship. That was the third place game, and we were up at that point, and he set that. It was a clean screen.
I don't even know enough to know if it was or not.
Did they throw a flag?
He was set. Yeah. 15-yard penalty. And he was set, and they called a technical foul, which gave them a couple free throws in the ball, which allowed it to go to overtime, and then we lost, and then they won the tournament the next day. We got third, so it was a little suspect. Live, I was like, did he flex a little? Then when I watched the film, I'm like, the only reason his arms moved was because the guy hit him in the chest.
The only thing I know about it, and I don't know if it's any different in street basketball, is I know in girls basketball, and I don't know if it's any different in boys, that they have to be set for like a quarter or half a second or something. And it happened so fast.
Yeah, he was set enough for that.
I don't pretend to know anything much about basketball. Okay, I really don't. But that to me is the most subjective call in almost all of sports.
Yeah.
Because when I see that happen, like I could see it happen 10 times. They all look relatively identical to me, and half the time they're called, and half
the only problem this time the kid folded up.
But that doesn't constitute a foul.
It just makes it look worse. Literally, this kid ran in the neck and went.
here's the difference. So that was a 14-year-old kid who was probably 5'5", 105 pounds.
He's my size.
Who ran into my 14-year-old 5'11", 160 pound wall, and Nick just got boom. And
literally what it looked like.
I mean, you don't get a foul because you're bigger. Like
well, that's the thing. But no, so we had that, and then it was really cool. And then on Sunday I took them down to the Teenagersville outlets by your old house, Chad.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I took
all
them
the
school
way down
shopping.
there. Is that the closest outlet for you guys?
No, there's Waterloo, but I like that one because it's a little bigger. So we did 2.5 hours.
My brother and sister live like 3 miles from there. Some really good food around there too.
There's traffic was terrible.
Oh, it's absolutely awful.
I wish I could say that I've never been there, but I have. So,
yeah. So that was my.
Anyways, let's talk about who the heck we're bringing on this week. Huh?
Almost did it too. Where's the buzzer? Give him a buzzer.
No, I didn't. What so, hell? Was what I was gonna say? Hell, that's not a swear word.
So
hell. I'll say it all the time.
So today we have on a very special guest because I actually was able to like help recruit him to come on the show.
No, you're on.
No, Teddy, you stepped it up, buddy. You're like a 3% member of the show now.
Yeah, like Joe and Chad were guilt tripping me. Like
you moved from methane to carbon dioxide.
Yes,
like this.
Yes, you got to watch last episode to see what that means, folks. So,
actually, you're more like argon. I kind of went a little too high, but
yeah,
maybe you'll get this carbon dioxide.
I can do a little bit on Bennett.
Wait a minute,
I got it.
Wait a minute.
Oh, go ahead, Teddy. Teddy wants.
I'm trying to be participating in this thing here.
I'm 100% getting you a shirt that just says methane on it. That's it. 100%. Doing it right after this.
Right after this. It'll be at my house tomorrow. Next day. So today we have Ben Michels. He's the president of.
No, you're already not allowed to.
Ben Nelson. Ben Nelson, the president of Michels Pacific Energy. You guys made me nervous.
Let me just say hell again. Hell.
So Ben is, as I mentioned, the president of Michels Pacific Energy. He's also the president of the Distribution Contractors Association. He is an alumni of the University of Washington, which he talks about in the interview with Joe. Mm-hmm. And additionally to that, he's really a great guy. I mentioned it. I think I said it in the thank you, maybe. But when I joined DCA after coming to Upsco, Ben was the first guy to like welcome me to the brotherhood or camaraderie that is DCA. And
you said it. Yeah, I think you said it in the.
You said it in the.
It's really
okay,
cool.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah, so open and welcome.
Yeah, that's because Danny gave him $100.
That is probably in advance. So
yeah, but $100 and a picture of you. Take care of it.
Go find this guy. But no, Ben's it's a great interview. He's such an awesome guy. His wife and kids are so nice, just great people all around. And I'm really excited to have him on the show. So without further ado, welcome Ben Nelson. Hello, Ben. Welcome to Connections for Life, my friend. How are you?
Hey, Ted, I'm great. Having a good day today. How are you doing?
Good. Friday. We're recording on a Friday. It's nice.
What's up, Ben? How are you? Fine. Good to meet you. This is our first time seeing each other, so.
Yeah. Hey, Joe.
Good.
So, Chad, how are you?
I'm wonderful.
Don't leave Chad out.
No, it's okay.
You can leave Chad out. Yeah, it's not a big deal.
So, I say this all the time, but I think one of the unique things about what we get to do is that we get to talk to people from a whole bunch of different demographics as far as the energy industry. We all have our own niche. But obviously you could do something really cool, and just kind of why don't you walk us into how you got your start doing what you're doing?
Sure. Thanks. Yeah, I'd like to. I do think it's it's an interesting industry. It's given a lot of people from a lot of diverse backgrounds an opportunity to have a great career, and that's one thing I love about it. It's very, very, America, right? You run into a lot of success stories in this industry. So when I was a young person growing up, my father was in the industry. My grandfather was in the industry. My father owned a construction company in gas distribution. So I kind of knew I wanted to get into the field. Ended up going to college and having a construction management degree, was my focus and what I graduated in and got out. And the fiber boom was going on at that time in the late 90s. It was pretty dynamic. And so we did gas distribution. We did telecom construction. I got to be a estimator, project manager, things like that, which was a little better than early on when I was like a laborer on the crew or parts runner out of the warehouse. Like that was kind of a fun transition to make. And then just a few years after I got out of college, Michels Corporation bought the company that I was at. And that was in '99. I've been with Michels ever since, and had a chance to move around and do different things. I've been doing a lot of power transmission and distribution. I got into gas transmission pipeline construction, worked my way up. I'm currently the president of a company called Michels Pacific Energy, living in the Bay Area, working all up and down the West Coast, and have a chance to really work with a lot of interesting people, like I was talking about, with diverse backgrounds, and get a chance to get to know a lot of great customers and people that are smarter than me and have a lot of great stuff figured out, and just try to kind of leverage that.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I think it's cool that you're the I think second or third person in the last few days. For everybody that doesn't know, we're trying to do a little different. We're trying to do a bunch of recordings at once because we have a busy schedule.
Nobody will even know this by the time it comes out, though.
Yeah, but where I was going with this, so we've recorded a bunch of people in the past few days, and there's been more than one that are second, third, or sometimes even fourth generation in the energy industry. And I think that that's really cool. And that shows that, like, you growing up, you saw that your family was like, that was what provided their life. And that's what was something that you liked and you saw and you wanted to be a part of. I think it's pretty cool that you went to college for something that you still do. I don't know many people
I think that's
really
cool too.
do that anymore.
And you were smart enough to make that. Yeah, you were smart enough to make that decision at that age too, to know I want to do that, which is really cool. That's pretty neat.
Yeah. Smart or lucky, I don't know, but you're right.
We've also had that discussion a couple times over the last few days.
Lucky than good, yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather be lucky than good. So.
A lot of the hiring we do is word of mouth. It's friends, it's relatives. That's very common. We're not big advertisers, right? So the energy industry does a decent job of doing some promotion of it, but a lot of people don't know. They don't think about being the guy that's out there digging ditches and pulling cable or welding, and those aren't really sexy jobs. But then you start hearing about the opportunities in the industry, and it's once people learn about it, they jump into it. When I was in college and I had that major, I was telling my friends that were like English majors or whatever, I'm like, you guys understand, in construction, everybody gets a job offer coming out of college. At least they were at that time. And I had like 3 or 4 friends change majors, and they're like, yeah, I'm going to do construction too. And they've been doing well.
They now work for Ben. They now work for Ben.
Now, Ben, where did you go to college?
University of Washington in Seattle.
Okay.
So wait a minute. I want to just say something, because this is a little fun fact. My great grandfather and great grandmother met at the University of Washington back in the early 1900s.
We got something in common there, Joe.
He was from Idaho, and she
really took it back,
Missouri.
Being common.
Wow. Yeah.
No, you don't run. I mean, I live in New York, and that's where my family's from. So for me, I don't run into a lot of people that are from the University of Washington. So it's always like a little kind of cool, but a little anecdotal thing. Anyway,
up in the corner, up there on the
left-hand side. Yeah.
Top left.
So you kind of you mentioned you're the president of Michels Pacific Energy, obviously. But what's a day in your life look like? I have to imagine there's a lot of juggling stuff around, but what's it look like, really?
Yeah, when you get into that kind of position, there's not much of a routine, right? You don't do the same thing every day. So you're dealing with opportunities that are in front of the business and trying to seize them. You're dealing with maybe challenges, problems you're having. You're trying to get involved with that, and you're spending a lot of time with management, trying to make sure things are happening the way you thought they were supposed to be happening. You've got a lot of verification and follow through. And so, the best days are the ones when we can maybe get out on a job site, go for a field visit, say hi to the crews,
have lunch,
meet with the customer. That's been a tough thing over the last 2 years, is a lot of our customers are at home and they don't want to leave the home. And so you kind of miss some of that interaction and that face-to-face time. So there's a lot of Zoom meetings, a lot of Teams meetings, that kind of thing.
And here we are.
We created a show about it.
Isn't it?
I do appreciate variety in my life, and I like the fact that I can or I need to do different things from a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. So,
well, that's something that's really cool. So I spent, 10 years in construction as a union electrician. I was a contractor for a decade. And that was one of what you just hit on was one of the best highlights I've ever loved, or best things I ever enjoyed about the construction industry was it's the only job where you literally work yourself out of a job every time, because you get a project and you work until the project is completed. And it's pretty awesome, because then you go on to the next place or you go on to the next one, and that diversity, that flexibility is so awesome. Such a great part of the industry.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do the same thing every day, all day, year after year after year. I think that would get stale, and I like to move on to the next thing and have new challenges.
Yeah, I think that's cool. We didn't really talk about this prior to, and as these guys alluded to, I typically go off on a tangent about questioning, but
what makes it special.
One of the things that I'm curious about for you and your role, obviously with COVID coming or being here and being the pandemic, you probably were looked to in a lot of different ways to figure out what that looked like for your organization, how to keep it running and all of those things. Were there any specific, like absolutely just mind-numbing or difficult tasks that you had to go through as the president to keep business moving and, through the pandemic?
Really good one,
it really forced us to keep focus on what was going on and think through what was happening to make sure we're keeping our people safe and following all the requirements and all that. We're in the Bay Area here, and if you guys can think back to March of 2020, that was the first area to invent the term shelter in place, right? So we were kind of at the forefront of that. Everybody else followed right after that. But
we're in New York, so we just put everybody back into the nursing home. we didn't get that message, apparently.
We Michels did a good job of providing some experts in the area that we could lean upon, and they built a strike team, and there's a committee and all that, and we really had to rethink what we're doing things, but it just you have to really talk through your plans on how things are happening, and it just forces people not to just kind of go about their business as usual, and so it just made everybody's life a little bit harder. I was
going to say, it's got to be about every little detail at that point, especially when you're out on a job site and you're trying to stay away from people, especially that early in it, to continue to try and work through that. There had to be some super challenges that I can't even imagine.
Well, think about training, right? Training is putting a lot of people in a room usually, right? So what training can you maybe defer a little bit? What training can you do differently? What training can you do outside, online, that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of ways to adapt and overcome.
But I assume, like, as being president, like, you were looked to as the person that had to really make those decisions, and you were the person that was kind of given that task, I would assume.
and people follow the lead of the leader, right? So is Ben wearing a mask? Nah, I'm not going to wear a mask, right? So you got to lead by example. And that's important. I don't like to talk about myself in the third person too much, but I just did there.
We're going to put some more questions together, so you have to.
Just all the wording.
So as we said, this will some of these guideline questions that we had here lead to other questions, and so you had to deal with that set of specific issues for being the president of Michels, specific and Pacific.
Wow.
Trying to get that together is very tough.
That was rough. I couldn't do that. Good job, though. I mean,
thank you.
Came out okay.
So you had to, as the president of Michels Pacific, you had to deal with a certain set of problems for COVID. You are also the president of the DCA, which is how our relationship came to be and whatnot. And you had to deal with an entire set of COVID issues for that. And we talked about this, a couple of weeks ago. But could you share with us maybe some of the difficulties or things you had to go through in that role as well?
Yes. So the Distribution Contractors Association meets fairly regularly. We have different committees, large meetings, small meetings, medium meetings. It's all in person, basically. It all requires travel. So clearly that couldn't happen for a while. We did some virtual meetings to keep some business moving forward. We did what we could with that, but you don't really get the energy and the interaction that you do in an in-person gathering. So we started meeting again in March with the Safety Congress. And then we just had a convention a few weeks ago. You were there. Even Giannis was cited at the convention. It was a great time, right? I think you met him, Ted.
Yeah, I did. I was very lucky.
Yeah, he went to Disney World after winning the championship.
He
and
won't
that's
stop
where we-
talking about it, Ben. He
Oh,
won't
That's where
stop.
we were at.
You met Giannis? That's strange. I didn't
We
know.
didn't know that.
We're gonna hear about people are gonna hear about it for the next 6 weeks too.
I'm
Not even on
excited.
purpose.
So listen, as a basketball guy, the basketball guy got to meet the basketball guy. That's pretty awesome. If I was a big baseball fan, I probably wouldn't be as excited about it.
Yeah.
But that would be like meeting Derek Jeter, you know?
Right.
So,
Who?
Yeah.
so
Yeah, so the DCA, we ended up, because we couldn't do much last year, so all of the board positions and the officers just got delayed one more year or extended one more year. So
mhm.
so that'll allow us to get the work done we were planning to do just a little late.
So you didn't
So
just
we
get out
plan
of it
on-
then, huh? You didn't get
What's
out
that?
of it. After
No,
that year, they
no.
were like, oh, sorry, you didn't get to do anything. You're gonna
It
have
was-
to stay and actually do it.
I like to think it was kind of an important year because we made a lot of unique decisions that needed to be made at that time.
Absolutely.
And so I said, well, maybe we could just do that and then be done. And everybody's like, no, because we didn't have a meeting. We didn't meet, so
Well,
we're still going.
I remember, you know, like it was March that we were down in Boca at DCA and you became the president. You were the incoming president. And then, you know, a couple of weeks later, they're like, oh yeah, you're going to go through the strangest year in the history of the world. You
Yeah.
got to oversee
Good luck.
all that. Good luck. Bye. So
Yeah.
The last president was like,
yeah, well, the last president was Mike Hickey. And
I
Mike
know.
That's that one. So
Yeah.
That's
oh,
funny.
that was great.
So, I mean, I know I deviated there with the COVID stuff, but, you know, obviously that was probably a pretty big part of, you know, I don't want to say your career, but that was a big thing. You know, there was a huge thing that never had happened before. It was completely out of the norm and different and new, and you had to navigate through that. I assume in your time in the construction industry, since obviously as a very young guy, and then all the way up till, you know, through your career, is there any like one project, whether it's a professional or even personal achievement that you've had that like you really feel like that'll be the one that's the one I remember. That's the one that made its mark for me and was my like crowning achievement.
Sure. You know, when you look at your career, and it's not done yet, I'm not leaving anytime soon, but so maybe I'll answer it differently later on.
You didn't come on this show to tell everybody that you're retiring.
Yeah, this isn't my big announcement.
We're breaking the news.
I'd like to take the opportunity to let everybody know.
Yeah.
Drop the mic.
Take them down to South Beach.
So crowning achievement, I really look at my kind of evolution and reinventing myself and going from segment of industry to segment of industry and teaming up with different people to accomplish great things. Generally, I'm not a guy who maybe built a really tall building or built a bridge or built a massive project. I've done a lot of little projects, and over the course of my career, I've had ups and downs, and I think I've adapted to my surroundings, and I've found some really good coworkers and industry contacts and clients that I think I helped them grow. I think they helped me grow, and I think the growth of those people is probably what I'm most proud of. And I think I've had a chance to work with some people that, you know, maybe didn't have a ton of education or didn't come in with a lot of experience, but I had a part in them, you know, improving their career and accomplishing a lot, and their family's better off for it, and they're better off for it. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's a great answer.
I think that's the best answer we've ever gotten.
Yeah, that was a really good one.
That's a really good
Good
answer.
show.
To be
No,
proud
I'm
of,
being honest. I don't.
Yeah,
consider your crowning achievement helping people in their professional development. That's a pretty rock star answer, Ben.
amazing.
Yeah.
Good job. Good job,
And
buddy.
by helping
Okay,
him
I'll
in
take that
professional.
one.
Yeah.
Now I know why
helping
you're
him in
president.
Yeah.
By helping him in professional, you also help him in their personal lives too. That's
Exactly.
the biggest thing, you know. That's
No, I think
pretty
I think that's cool, and I think that you know, that's kind of part of the show, like connections, relationships, meeting people, and exploring what that looks like. Somebody said earlier today that the name on your shirt might also, well, you know, might change. You might go to a different organization, but the connections and the people that you meet and relationships that you build are what's really so rewarding for all of us, I think. And it's part of the reason that we love to do this show. So that was, like I said, cool answer. I appreciate that one.
yeah, that was really good. And I assume that you have some real challenges to your job, but one of my guests, my thing is also going to be coming right out of that personnel part. that maybe personnel might be one of the biggest challenges right now, like everybody else in the industry.
It is.
Just what I mean, that's got to be it. But why don't you just talk about it a little bit? Any other things that may.
It is. It's obviously the economy is going pretty well right now. There's work out there to be done, and it's hard to find the people to do it. And maybe you can find some people, but they're not the right people. So it's the qualified, capable personnel that you're looking for. How do you recruit them? How do you pick the right ones? Because I don't know about you guys, but I've been fooled in an interview a time or two. You can have somebody come in and blow your
still
doors
have
off.
Ted.
I fooled Upsco 10 years ago. I'm still here.
You have to, 6 months from now, are you happy? Did that hire work out? Right.
Right.
So,
100%.
So it's the recruiting, it's the going, it's the developing and the, manning the work. I mean, I got customers that call us up and they've got work, but if I can't put the right people on it, I'll have to give them a proposal that's got a big number to it, and they're not going to select us, or I'll put a bad number to it thinking I got the right people to it, and then we'll go lose money at that.
Yeah.
And we'll disappoint somebody, we'll finish late, whatever. So you just, safety is obviously really important. So if you put the wrong people out there in the field, people are going to get hurt. So you got to be really selective about that. So that's the challenge. And that's a very kind of standard answer. And you're going to hear that from a lot of people. And maybe it's not the best answer you've ever heard to that question. Like, I'm coming off a high on the previous question. I'm trying to follow through on that, but that's the reality of it.
Well, it kind of pairs with what you said, though. I mean, part of what you love about your job is creating those relationships and bringing those people on board and creating that, I don't say family, but developing that company, and it's what you enjoy, and having to deal with not having employees or not being able to get a project done. I mean, I'm sure that you take pride in what you do, and not being able to complete something that you promised somebody because you made a bad decision about something is impactful to you. I get that. It's challenging. I think that, I don't know, it's just kind of bizarre nowadays, right? Like, everything's just so weird, and everybody that we talk to, you're absolutely right, is the same thing. What's this biggest struggle you're having? It's personnel. We're just really having a hard time with that. The question I did have for you, which what we didn't talk about, is for Michels Pacific Energy, how many employees do you have that work with you? At this company, it's about 500 right now. Wow. I got 3 kids I can't manage.
Send them to Ben.
Yeah, Ben, they're on a flight tomorrow.
I can use a few.
Pick them up at the airport.
One of them's really strong. She's pretty tough. You can put her right on to work. But no.
She knows how to make her own food too, so that's a plus.
So with that being said, obviously, like you said, business is busy, booming. There's a lot of projects. There's a lot of things that are going on, infrastructure and improvements and things of that nature. We see a lot, at least in the gas utility side. What do you see from your position as maybe the future, the next 3, 5, 10 years out for the natural gas industry? I know you work in a lot of different ones, but we only care about natural gas today. So
yeah, man, that's where I've spent most of my career, is the gas industry.
Perfect.
So I'm passionate about it. We've obviously got government, environmental groups. There's people working in ways that might downsize our industry, that might limit our opportunities, that might change what we do going forward. I think there's a lot of efforts putting into that are somewhat kind of goals or aspirations that, when it comes down to really heating homes and cooking food and powering manufacturing, that I think it's going to be pretty obvious to America that the natural gas industry isn't just going away, that there's things we can do to improve our carbon footprint. And I think we need to be respectful of that drive to do that. But at the same time, I don't think we're going to be shutting things down pretty soon here. So we at the DCA are trying to do what we can to make sure that message gets out, that we're using different avenues and teaming up with different organizations to try to promote the industry in a responsible way, and not just be counter to what maybe others are saying against us, but to say, look, we hear you and we see you, but we also think we're a part of the picture. We're a part of the solution. So
let's have a discussion about it. Yeah. Let's discuss.
Let's educate you a little bit.
Well,
Hang on, Joe. I have
Go
a
ahead.
question just about being in the Bay Area, because that's one of the first places that they said we're not putting natural gas into any new place, any new
services.
buildings. Correct? Am I right? Am I right about that? I believe I'm right.
Yeah, certain cities, certain counties are making regulations as far as what can be done with new construction. So there's ones out here and in other places across the US where they're not allowing a new gas service to go into a home per se. So
It's amazing.
So is that all electric? Is that really what it boils down to? Just
be all electric. Yeah, you'd have electric, heating and air conditioning and cooking and all that stuff.
Meanwhile, it's
And
rolling
with all the
backpacks.
excess power in California.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
It's a challenge. And if you talk to the utilities, it's a big lift for them to change, to go with more renewables and your generation is going to be in different locations to where the load is from where it used to be. So that requires more transmission, and it just requires a lot of work that I don't know that people are going to be willing to see that on their monthly bill, because that money comes from us as consumers. So you don't get that change in whether it's in the power grid or something like that without you
Somebody
as a consumer
paying
paying for it. It doesn't just it's not just printed money from the government.
Yeah.
I appreciate your stance, and we've talked to other people and we've all talked about it as well, is that I get frustrated when it turns into like a, you're over here and we're over here kind
and
of
us versus
situation.
them.
And us versus them situation. I think that you're absolutely right. There's got to be a sit down at a table and figure out from a sustainability what looks best, what works best, and how do we get to a point where, as you said, and I like the word that you used, we're aspiring to like get to a place, because we don't even have the technology to do the things that they're asking or that they think we should be working on. So I just think that maybe sitting down and figuring out, maybe we phase it out in 100 years. Who knows what that looks like? But let's talk about what's best for the people and not what's best for the politics.
Yeah.
So
what I mean?
So I'm going to frame it two different ways, and I'll see what kind of answer I get from you. The first way is, would you prefer your carbon footprint to go to zero? The second way to say that is, are you willing to double your electric bill every month to pay for your carbon footprint to go to zero? And I think you get different answers, and one of those is more closer to reality than the other one. And so how does politics get driven? It needs to be more based on reality than, that kind of thing. So
That's a great way to shape
gas fact, Joe.
Yeah,
it is. It's really easy for people to say we shouldn't be doing this, we shouldn't be doing this, we shouldn't be doing this, while they're taking advantage of all the things that this gives them.
Yeah. Or even the miseducation of how many people don't actually understand that a lot of their electricity is generated by natural gas. And
how many percent, Joe? How many percent? I know you know. It's like 38, isn't it? 42?
46% or something
Wow,
like that. I could be wrong.
of all
I sort of remember
is powered by natural gas. So that's awesome.
And it replaced coal, and it's been like 70% emissions reductions over the last 50 years. Like, those are all things that I think people should understand. We talk about reducing our carbon footprint, but we have been.
Yeah.
It's just not the right way, I guess, perception wise,
or fast enough. That, I think 2030 is the deadline that they put out there. And it's like, for that to realistically happen, what would have to take place is like what Ben said. Are you willing to pay double, triple your bill to make that happen?
But you know what? And Ben, you probably get this too. Like, I get it though. There's methane emissions, there's landfills, there's ways that we can capture and do things. We just have to start doing it and be realistic about the time frame.
It has to be done like this. It's not going to work.
And you said the cost.
Yeah, and I just said doubling. I don't know what the increase is, but it's going to be more expensive. And it's just, are people?
It's now our gas fact for next week. So
we're not able to fact check you anyway.
No. He's right, and you're not wrong. It's almost double to take, to heat your home, or instead of gas and straight electric, specifically in like colder climates, like where we live, upstate New York, Minnesota, Wisconsin. It's almost double the cost monthly to electric versus natural gas.
Okay. Well, there you go, Joe. I appreciate you backing me up on that. I was just guessing. Yeah.
I don't know if it's right or not, but I figured I'd give you a little pump. So,
well, listen, Ben. I personally want to thank you for joining us on the show here today. To speak to how awesome Ben is, I have to give him a shout out, because he was the first person I met when I became a member of the Distribution Contractors Association.
Sorry, Ben.
Yeah, we know. I was at he picked the wrong lunch table. I was at
Wait a minute, you ever get that disclaimer? This person does not represent the views and opinions expressed by the company. That's Teddy.
So yeah, that's me. So I was at the DCA last year in Boca and at the new member breakfast or lunch or something, whatever it was. And Ben came over and sat down next to me and just, went out of his way to make me feel very welcome at this pretty overwhelming event. If you've never been to it, because it's awesome. It's spectacular. And he didn't say, hey, I'm the incoming president and I'm the president of Michels Pacific or anything like that. He was like, I'm Ben. My wife's here. This is my wife. We got 3 kids. And it was just, he was so awesome and so down to earth. It was disarming for me to be able to put the guard down and really embrace all the wonderful benefits the DCA had to offer. So from that meeting to come to where we have this relationship now, we're part of our show and everything. I thank you from the bottom of my heart, Ben, and truly appreciate you joining us here today.
Yeah, I'm happy to do it. And it's great that you guys, during the last year and a half, have helped, promote the industry, shine the spotlight on certain individuals within it, let us get our message out or let people get to know us a little bit better and just try to keep everybody connected a little bit better. So that's important.
Connections for life.
What we're here for.
So thank you for joining us.
Ted, before we go, I want to say that was the greatest thank you you've ever done.
I thought that too.
I wanted to cut him off, but I couldn't. Just to say that was awesome. Good job. Did you write it down? I thought you had a scrolling thing behind.
He's been practicing that for weeks.
No, that was genuine though. Like the entire experience, it was really genuine. Good. So
I also wanted to add, lastly, Ben, if there's anything that we can do to help promote with DCA, or if there's anything that we can do as far as like just launching information out on our network, any information that you guys are trying to share, please, pass it along. We'd be more than happy to do so.
That sounds good. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Hey, you have a great weekend and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Ben.
Okay.
Ben, thank you so much for joining us on the show. Great interview, although I gave a terrible introduction of you because I was nervous.
I didn't think it was that bad.
I was nervous.
Well, it was bad, huh?
I didn't think it was that bad. I just didn't. No, it was terrible. I tried
to
make you feel better, but it was pretty bad.
It's on par with our high level of professionalism.
Listen, we're getting more and more here where we're just like, all right, hey, let's get this, let's bracket this interview with nothing but pure entertainment. All right.
I don't know if it's entertaining. It's more like garbage.
Hey, we call it sports talk radio.
I prefer to frame it and not bracket it. Except the bracket is a sale. A bracket is a sale.
So wait a minute. I just found this out.
Uh-oh.
I just told Chad. Did you know we've been on this thing for 18 months now on Zoom? I just realized that if you put your mouse over one of the pictures, a little hand comes up.
You just realized that?
And you can move people around the screen. I had no idea.
That I didn't
know that?
No. I just learned that in this moment.
Right.
Now I'm just sitting here switching everybody constantly.
Watch, it's going to do that on the recording.
I've been wondering about that. Like, what's
I can't even concentrate. Now. I'm doing it so much.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny though? Like, I just realized that's what that does.
I'm so going to do this through all of our meetings now.
Well, wait a minute. Let's make sure that like this isn't messing with the recording and that the people that are watching are not like.
Anyway.
I think it's fine.
So
I just want to say thanks to Ben. This is the first time Chad and I got to meet Ben, this interview. What a cool guy.
Well, Chad met him in a pre-call that you didn't show up for.
Oh,
sorry. I was on a plane. My fault. Next time I'll get satellite phone and call in
Wi-Fi on planes
from 15F and American Airlines.
It's not like you ever go in airplane mode anyways.
I brought a taser on a plane. You think I'm gonna do that? Yeah, right. You think that's airplane mode? What I'm concerned with?
That's not a valid excuse, Joe.
Yeah.
Jeez.
You have any lithium batteries? No, but I have this taser.
So continue with your thank you to Ben.
I just want to say thanks. Like it's always neat to get to meet new people. I think that's awesome, but I think it's even more cool that we get to meet people like that's more part of Teddy's world now, like the contractor side and things that we really don't get involved with, to kind of hear their story, the difficulties and the challenges that they've had through the pandemic and also some of the things that they're working on. I just think it's really entertaining and pretty cool. So
I really enjoyed like the high level view that Ben has, being the president of Michels and being the president of the DCA and hearing about the high level top down of like, all right, I got to make these decisions.
Because we never have to.
Because we don't have to do that.
I love it.
So
Our
it's
biggest
like, all right,
decision
that-
is what is Chad going to be in the intro?
And usually Lindsay decides that for me.
She's not there, so that's why.
No,
we're so
she's
glad.
not there today. That was the biggest problem this morning.
Yeah. Chad was scrambling to find a 2014 fishing license.
I can't believe he found it. To be honest with you,
That's great. That goes.
I've seen Chad's organizational method. It's just
Especially in the garage. It's really good.
it's even worse. Yeah.
Yes, but honestly, it was a great interview. So, you know what time it is now, though? Back to gas time.
Fact of gas. I don't know why that makes me laugh so much. I watched last week's interview when you said that, and it cracked me up again. I don't know why it makes me laugh. Fact of gas.
I have a buddy who does that with like a lot of things. Like that's like his like go-to line. You can be like, "When are we going to the house?" And he's like, "To the house we go."
I'm gonna get a little bell or something, or a little. I'm gonna get Teddy saying that, and every time we do it, it'll be the same thing. It'll be fact of gas.
Fact of gas.
I'm sure our audience will love that.
All right, give us the gas fact.
Let's go.
So, as we've talked about, making solar panels and fan blades and all that stuff for renewable energy, or renewable, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
It's Monday. We don't record
Renewables.
ever. Anyone's hired. It requires a lot of, mining, raw materials, things like that. But there's also another. It looks like you're going to play paintball.
It's like, is he going to play paintball? Why did he put those glasses on?
I don't know. But in addition to that, there's waste, right? So wind turbines, solar panels, and batteries have a relatively short lifespan. You know what that lifespan is approximately?
But can you give me some reference of short? Like short to me is like a day, but I know that's not right. A short could be 30 years in this regards. 7 years. I'm going 7 years, like tax, like when you got to get rid of your records and taxes.
Could you just repeat the question, like for me? I want to.
Wind turbines, solar panels, and batteries have a relatively short lifespan. What do you think that lifespan is approximately?
I'm going to say 9 years, and I'll base that off of this. As my prior life, I put in a lot of solar panels and some wind turbines and stuff like that. Now I know the wind turbines are much longer, but I know the solar panels life is much shorter, and it's not necessarily due to it running like out of like the.
Is it 9? So do we just take?
I know you're really getting long-winded. Your numbers, man. The answer is 20. That's for everything.
See, that's why I didn't want you to talk about it that long.
But conventional energy, like machines, like gas turbines, last like 40 years. Okay, but this is the more alarming thing. So based on current plans, IRENA, which is the International Renewable Energy Agency, write that down, there'll be a quiz later, calculates that by 2050, the disposal of worn out solar panels will constitute over double the tonnage of all today's plastic waste.
What? How's it even possible? I mean, think about how much plastic we use.
I don't know if Irena's wrong, but
what's her last name?
Well, that goes in conjunction with like the car batteries. All right, the solar car batteries. You know,
wait, did you say solar car batteries
or electric car batteries? Yeah.
Where you have one of those?
Yeah, it's in my backyard.
He gets like a mile and a half, and then it runs out.
This big. It's this big.
He can make it across the street.
Think about that. So by 2050, disposal of all that worn out solar panels will constitute over double the tonnage of all today's plastic.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. But
so I mean, I'm gonna
natural gas. Here we go.
I'm gonna steal this line right here because it's not my line, but just think about it. So before we launch history's biggest increase in mining, dig up millions of acres of land, encourage, create and encourage waste problems, we need to consider that it's almost. We need to consider or want to reconsider almost exhaustible supply of hydrocarbons. Technologies are making them easier to acquire and cleaner to use every day. Meaning, what that sentence means is we're getting better at and more efficient and cleaner with fossil fuels.
Yes.
So while it's very important to put time and energy into alternatives, I think we all agree in that. It's also equally as important to spend time and energy on how we can be more efficient and be cost effective, efficient, and cleaner with fossil fuels. And I think the gas industry has done that, but it doesn't get a lot of recognition. So I just wanted to point that out. I feel like lowering efficiencies.
Send me that quote, please, Joe. I want to put it up on my social media platforms.
Yeah, sure. I'll send you the whole shooting match.
I don't need that. I just need the quote. I won't read it. So
Got it.
All right.
So, yeah.
Hey, well, that's
Since you already read it, can you tell us?
What?
Since Joe already read it, can you just tell us the whole thing?
Yeah.
You already did.
So, all right,
What?
folks, we're gonna end the show.
This is where I say hell again. Hell.
We love you guys. We want to. Chad wants
Wait,
to.
Chad's
Say
If
got
something.
anybody can say how many times Joe said hell in this episode, Ted will send him $5.
I don't even know
Why am
No,
I
but
the
we're
one
gonna
who
find
has
somebody's
give
gonna
the
tell us.
money
We'll
away?
just say that's right or not.
because you do the least.
Valid point. I can understand.
Calm down, Argon. You
Got
just
it.
got upgraded.
A deal. So remember, subscribe, like, click, share, comment, all of the above. There's supposed to be some icons, but Chad doesn't do that anymore. And we love you.
I never did that in the
I
beginning.
know, but I made it. They don't
Calm
know
down,
that.
carbon dioxide.
Bye, guys.